Well, g'day, fancy seeing you here. It's lovely to be spending some more time with you. I'm Tim Power, you're listening to Time to Talk. Now, this isn't AI. I want you to have a listen to this. I'm sure you'll be able to tell who it is.
Kylie Minogue came to St James's Palace to perform this song in 2012. The song is The Locomotion, and this is music for dancing. Again, it has that infectious energy which makes it, I find, incredibly hard to sit still.
And I'm frightfully electric when I hear Padam. I love King Charles. His friendship with Kylie goes back a long way, as we know. He initially had to forgive her, of course, you'll probably be aware of that, for that time where she performed Made in Heaven at a Royal Variety performance. But since then, they've never looked back, of course. Huge respect for one another they have. Well, today you're in for a few treats. We'll be meeting a 16-year-old girl who lives and goes to school in China. She spoke to me not too long ago about why she is a super Kylie Minogue fan. Did you know Kylie had fans as young as 16 in China? I didn't. It's fantastic. You're also going to hear from Australia's Stephen and why he's made a very tough decision to sell off some of his beloved Kylie vinyls. I just want you to think about that. Let that digest. How would it be for you if someone told you you had to part with some of your most precious Kylie memorabilia? There'd certainly be more than a few star tanties, I'd imagine. You're also about to meet Giang. Giang was in the audience of Kylie's Bangkok Tension Tour. That was Monday night, and she will give us her absolutely fantastic verdict. Thank you, Giang, for talking to us. And a quick shout out to you, by the way. Yes, you who've turned on this podcast. If you can see your way to rating this show on the platform you're using, it probably doesn't seem like much, but I'm learning more and more and getting more advice that it truly does make a massive difference to keeping us producing fantastic content for you. So if you can do it right now as you're listening, just go and give us a rating in whatever platform you're using. I'd really appreciate it. But now you're about to meet Efrat, and you might find it hard to believe how devoted she is to our Kylie. Pay very close attention, if you will. Listen out for how many tension shows Efrat will have attended by the time it all wraps up in Mexico. Do I pronounce your name Efrat?
Efrat.
Efrat. It's very lovely to meet you. What I love is that you've brought this little lights, camera, action doll, Kylie doll, which I would love you to tell me where it came from, and you've made that almost the star of your Facebook page. It's center stage in every photograph all over the place.
Yeah, I'm taking her on tour with me. And I'm hoping that at the end of the tour, she'll have her own photo book that I'm hoping to give to Kylie. Maybe with her, maybe without her. I don't know. I haven't decided. I got a few months to figure that out.
Describe this doll to people. It's not Kylie per se, is it?
Well, it's sort of supposed to be. So it's the light camera action yellow and black outfit that she wore in the video. I was wearing the same dress too, but I decided to get somebody who is more talented than me on Etsy to make me a doll that would match that. And it came out so gorgeous, and I just love it. And I decided to take her on tour with me.
It's extremely cute, but what I think is happening, and tell me if I'm reading the photographs wrong on your Facebook page, I'm only imagining, I mean, you seem like a very confident person, but if you're traveling around the place, like to have something like that as a conversation starter, much easier to make friends and start conversation that way, right?
Yeah, especially opening night in Perth. I was there alone. I had one friend that was going to the show, but he didn't have the Padam VIP tickets. So I was alone at that little party. And that doll just made it so much easier to make friends and just meet people.
And not that this is why you made the doll, but I'm imagining you could use that doll to distinguish between the mega Kylie fans and maybe the not so mega fans, because it's for those of you who don't know, it's the yellow and black striped dress from Lights, Camera, Action, the one where the guy jumps behind her, that epic moment in that video clip. And yes, you too, Efrat, were wearing the same dress, which looked equally amazing. But people that come up to you, if they know where it's from, does that tell you something about them?
Yeah, of course. And I was surprised that a few people at the VIP parties didn't, and were asking, what is this outfit about and what is the doll about? And those are people that paid, good money to see Kylie from the better spot in the venue. So I was surprised that they didn't. But most people would come up and know exactly what it's from and what it means.
You won't get me on my soapbox, but I would honestly argue that half the people in VIP sections of any concert, not just Kylie, are just wealthy and they can do it. So, and it always makes me bitter up there in the rafters looking at the top of their head thinking, oh, how the other half live. And talking about how the other half live, my goodness, Efrat, from a distance, it looks like you have quite the lifestyle because you're based in the United States, correct?
Yeah, I live in a suburb of Chicago.
Right, but you've travelled all around Australia, and then you told me, so that's 10 out of 10 shows you've been to on the initial leg of the Tension Tour. You told me you're going to another 10, I think, is that right?
A little more. I'm going to a total of 32.
Oh, no. Yeah, so you're blowing my brain again.
So, I'm doing the entire Australian leg, which was done. I'm doing all the shows in US and Canada.
All the shows? All of them?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, but not just... Hang on. So not all of them, but maybe every city or all the shows?
All the shows. All 17 dates in US and Canada.
I'm so jealous.
And then I'm doing 2 in the UK because I figured I want to see the show if it's different in the UK, Europe.
Yep.
And then I somehow got convinced to do the 3 shows in Mexico in August too. So that will total at 32.
32 in total. And you're not worried, this is almost sacrilege for me of all people, a huge Kylie fan from the beginning to say, but you're not worried you're going to get a bit over it? I mean, you're going to know exactly where she's coming out, where she's coming down from, where she emerges. Like, you're going to know it back
what
to front.
She says, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? Kylie's my happy place. It's been like that forever. I don't think I'm going to get bored. I think, yes, I'm going to know things. I'm going to notice little mistakes, probably that, maybe the person that comes to 1 or 2 shows will not. But I don't think I'll get bored. I never get bored of Kylie. I can put her music on repeat and just let it go for hours while I'm, doing housework.
In retrospect, a silly question, because like you say, it's not just the show, it's the immersion and being in Kylie's, therapy almost for some people. And I believe I'm talking to a kindred spirit here. She's a therapy, so that's fantastic. You'll get exhausted, I know that. 32, you'll get exhausted.
I'll get exhausted. So many flights, so many hours in hotels, not in my own bed. Yes, It's exhausting, but she's worth it.
Look, I'm going to put you on notice. I'm going to return to the topic of how the devil do you do that? Because all us fans have always looked at people like you and thought, how do they do it? So I'm going to be asking you the secrets of that in a moment. But I'm really curious. You've been to every show so far in the Australian leg. I was curious. You're one of the few people, or maybe the only person who'd be able to tell us this. Did the show evolve from the moment it opened in Perth and then ended on the 3rd night in Sydney? Did it change? Did it evolve? Coming to you from the mountain fortress of pop culture. You're listening to Time to Talk.
You don't think I'm overexposed, do you?
Did it change? Did it evolve?
Yes, it did. The first 2 nights, I believe. I gotta go check my videos. But the first 2 nights, she had "I Believe in You" in the set list that was cut.
Do you think that was a
Then,
good choice?
it wasn't a bad choice, but I wouldn't have done it. I would have done something else.
Was it
'Cause
replaced, Efrat, or was it
no, it
just
was
cut?
just cut.
Right.
Well,
And where was it originally? Was it towards the beginning or?
it was towards the beginning, and I believe it is now where she sings "Last Night I Dreamt I Fell in Love,"
Oh,
which
okay.
on the original show was on the B stage uh, before the requests.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
And she was
okay.
singing it alone without any dancers or anything, and then it got moved to closer to the front
Yeah.
with a bunch of dancers and a little routine. Um,
I wonder
I
why they
like
did
that
that. It
song.
sounds like
Yeah,
maybe if it was just a straight cut, it might have been just because of the time of the show rather than anything else. Interesting, though, isn't it?
it could be, but I would have replaced. I would have kept "I Believe in You" and got rid of "Last Night I Fell in Love" because it's not that great. I
Which
like it, but I
version
don't love
of?
it.
Yes, I tend to agree. I don't mind it, but I don't. But she clearly in love with it because she tells the story. I've seen in the clips about how she literally wrote that on the back of a dream, which is pretty fantastic. I can't imagine dreaming that I fell in love, but it's a nice sentiment. What version of "I Believe in You" did she sing?
Don't really remember
Okay, because there's
because I
two.
think
There's
it
the
was
one
just
from the
one.
Kylie
I
show,
think
right, which is much just stripped back, but then there's the original,
I
almost dancey version of it.
I want to say it was stripped back, but
Right.
I think it was. Now that I think about it, I think it was just in Perth, just opening night.
Yeah, yeah.
So I haven't had a chance to
And
even go
Everett, I
back
mean, I can
there.
hardly hold you to account for that. You've seen the show so many times,
Yeah,
and we can always refer back to your library of videos, right?
I have. Yeah, I have some videos. I try not to do too much, so I have
Yeah.
a lot of short videos, but
Mm.
I have plenty. My iCloud got full somehow.
Yeah, I can imagine it would. Chop it at 5 seconds, otherwise my iCloud will overflow. Any other changes to the show that you noticed?
There were changes in outfits.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, so she started with one dress that never came back in the opening, and then she changed that 3 or 4 times until she settled on one.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
sort of settled on the silver now, hasn't she? I think.
right, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
which can use a little chop of that tail too. It would have been much cuter, shorter. Um,
Oh, okay.
and the red outfit got changed 3 times until she settled on that jumpsuit.
Right. Okay. And one thing from the clips, I did a media blackout until I saw the show, which was night number 1, Sydney, where you would have been, March 1. So the one thing that I've noticed from looking at the clips is the opening seems to change. For example, there's all this that thing, and then it stops, and the big lips come up on the screens. At some points, it seems like the stage is in darkness, and at other shows, it seems like the stage is completely illuminated at that point. Very small change, but I've noticed that. Did you see that too?
Yeah, and there was also little issues with the diamonds. Sometimes it
Aha.
was fully lit, and sometimes like little angles were missing, connecting the top of it to the second part of it.
Yes, yes. Jude, who was on our show a couple of days ago, she asked me that question. She said, "Did the diamond change shape at different points?" And I said, "I haven't noticed that, but you're confirming
Yeah,
that it seems to be some of
yeah.
the
It just
LEDs or something."
yeah, it just wasn't perfect. I think the first night was perfect, but then after that, it kind of got maybe damaged. I don't know.
Right, right. What's your favourite part of the show, Efrat? When you're sitting there in the audience and you know it so well, you know what's coming. Which part G's you up? Where you're going? Oh, I can't wait for this part.
It's so hard. I mean, the beginning is amazing, so it's always like a heartbeat drop,
True
when it
tension,
starts. Um, the opening of Tension, that video screen is insane.
isn't it
Uh,
amazing?
That was another change actually. Now that I think of it, in the first show, um, it was Padam, then Can't Get You Out of My Head, and All the Lovers, and after that she switched that with Tension, and then the original one, Tension, came when Padam is now. So
Hold on, sorry, Padam was way back, almost like three-quarters of the way.
End. Yeah,
it's almost at the end now. It's the second last song. But are you saying it was earlier in the set before?
Yeah. So
wow.
If you think about when Tension starts, instead of Tension, it was Padam.
You're joking with all those walking Kylies.
Well, it wasn't that screen. So that screen belongs to Tension. So it was the Padam screens.
Right.
Padam going into Can't Get You Out of My Head, which is the same mix that she did in Vegas.
Oh, yes. I see how they morph into one another. Yep.
Yeah. And then
that seems like a mistake to me to have Padam so early on. It needs to be towards the end, if not the end, in my opinion.
Right. And that's how it worked out better in the later shows.
Yeah.
The only thing is they probably should have kept Can't Get You Out of My Head next to Padam, because the transition between those two is better than the Tension to Can't Get You Out of My Head.
Yeah.
Or maybe because I'm just used to it because she did it in Vegas and I was in Vegas.
Well, she's been doing that
a lot of time too.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that. But yeah, she does like to merge the two. Personally, though, on a Tension tour where you're not just doing a few tracks, like on American Idol, for example, she did the same thing, didn't she, Padam, into Can't Get You Out of My Head. But they're both such mega beasts. In fact, you could argue it's the number one and number two most well-known Kylie songs now in 2025. So to keep them apart makes sense to me. But yeah, it sounds like you're now at the stage where you've seen the show so many times, you're sort of almost a pseudo stage manager going, no, that short dress needs to be a bit shorter. No, you got to mix that up a bit more, Kylie. No, I don't like that.
I'll take
version.
the job.
They should give you one, frankly. They really should. Be cheaper for you too. You could travel with the crew.
Yeah, I was thinking of messaging Kylie on social media. I was like, hey, can I get on the tour bus? I mean, all these flights are going to kill me, especially in the US. Yeah.
How did you find making your way around Australia? Because it's relatively easy, I suppose, but it's a big country, isn't it, like yours?
Yeah, well, it started with a horrible experience because my flight to Melbourne got cancelled.
Oh, no.
And I was freaking out because I had a 24-hour delay in San Francisco, and I was trying to make sure that I get in to Perth in time for the show. But then it got canceled, and they rerouted me through even a longer connection, and I ended up going San Francisco to Singapore and Singapore to Perth.
Oh, okay. Right.
But I made it to Perth at about 3:00 in the afternoon, the day of the show.
Oh, that's not much time to spare, is it?
No, I had time to shower and change. That's about it.
Oh, you poor thing. You must have been absolutely exhausted.
I was probably more because I was nervous about the whole delay, because I did fly business, so I was able to sleep for most of those 17 hours, but it was crazy. And my luggage got delayed in Singapore, so thankfully I was smart enough to pack the important stuff in my carry-on. Wow. It was a disaster, but I made it.
Well, and that's the thing with travel, especially if you're trying to keep to a schedule, you're a slave to all those timetables, and they often do. Like, they say it's not often, but it is. It's often that things get rescheduled or delayed or cancelled. It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I noticed.
But luckily, all my internal flights within Australia were on time, and so everything went smoothly.
And talking about your luggage, I noticed you Kylie-fied even your luggage.
Yeah, my carry-on. I decided to. I saw somebody a few months ago, like last year in Vegas, that had a Kylie Tension carry-on. And then I started thinking about doing that, and I found a website that does that. And I ended up putting all the pictures of when I met Kylie on a suitcase.
And there's a lot of those, Efrat. There's a lot of those. I've like I say, I don't mean to make you feel creeped out, but I've stalked since you told me, because I thought, 10 shows? Really? Who does that? So I went on your Facebook, and you've met her so many times and over such a long period of time. What is it about her that, it's a basic question, but why do you love Kylie so much?
Well, she's been like the most stable thing in my life since I was 11. And it's just, she changed while I changed when I grew up. She grew up when I grew up. You know, it was just like the stable thing that's always there. And then when I got to meet her first time in 2009, I realized how sweet of a person she is too. So that makes it even better, you know, that you love somebody that is also a real good person.
We underestimate that. I mean, a lot of people might have pointed to the music and, you know, the video clips or the concerts, but you're absolutely right. It's the same with me. She's a constant in my life, no matter what's swirling around, and some of us haven't had the easiest lives, and Kylie is just this vein of hope and goodness throughout the entire time, right? Yeah.
And especially 2 years ago, I had the most horrible year of my life, and in the middle of all the craziness, she was there and she knew me. She remembered my name, and that just made it so much better to kind of deal with all the bad things around. And it might be silly, but it gave me like a relief, a happy place. And then I ended up booking way too many shows after that because I decided we only live once and might as well enjoy it.
Oh, that's beautiful. What was going on for you, Efrat, if you don't mind me asking?
My dad got sick and passed away. So there was a lot going on.
Yeah. And you were close to your dad? Yeah. I'm really sorry to hear that, Efrat. And it was around the same time that you saw Kylie, in person, you seem to be saying?
Yeah, when he was diagnosed, I saw her like the same week, I think, in LA.
In LA? In
LA, in a wine signing event. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then, a few months later, it was one of the first shows in Vegas where she, I had one of the original Enjoy Yourself tour scarves.
I love those.
And she came, she was talking about, starting in the locomotion and all of that. And she saw the scarf. I was about halfway down the catwalk. And she came up to me and she asked, "Can I take a closer look at that?" And when she came near me, she was like, "Oh, I know you. You've been to 7,000 shows, Efrat, right?" And I just forgot my name at that point, but yeah.
Hey, Time to Talk family. This is Tim Power, host of the podcast where amateurs talk about icons. To keep our show commercial free, we rely on your support. Many of you have chucked in just a couple of bucks, or sometimes more, which lets Time to Talk Australia pay its way. There's no obligation, of course. Keep listening to us no matter what. Liking and sharing our content is also a huge help. But if you do hear something that you like and you think you can support the show by throwing in a couple of bucks, head to patreon.com/Time to Talk Australia. The link is in the description of this podcast.
Hi Tim and Time to Talk listeners, this is Danny from Melbourne, and I'd just like to say your latest podcast made me very angry.
And as always, we want your voice memos. If you've heard something that you agree with, or possibly you're outraged, and let's be fair, many of you listen simply to be outraged, then take out your phone and record a voice memo. Cap it at around the 2-minute mark, and then send it to me. I listen to all the voice memos that come through, and occasionally we include them in the show. Our email is timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. Thanks for sharing, rating, contributing, and donating to this very little podcast from Down Under. I genuinely love our Little Time to Talk family, because lovers of pop are an endangered species. So, why don't we go extinct together?
So that's all I have to say. Get off the airwaves, you're such an amateur.
When was the first time you saw Kylie? I'm trying to work this out, Efrat, because for American fans, I'm often told it's difficult to be a fan, especially in the early years, because things weren't available. Or were you living somewhere else at the age of 11?
I was living in Israel.
Right.
So it was not as easy still, but closer to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I actually saw her was on a Night Like This tour in Manchester.
What a way to start.
Yeah.
Because that was an incredible show, wasn't it?
It was. I went to one show in Manchester thinking that, I just want to see Kylie on tour. And then I went back home and I was so depressed that I only saw one show. So I looked up the rest of the tour and I ended up about 3 weeks later in the 2 last shows in London too.
Wow. Okay. You made a pledge. Once is never enough on a Kylie tour.
I learned that from the beginning. Yeah.
And it's kind of true, isn't it? Like when I don't know if you do the same thing, but if I ever get the opportunity to see her more than once in a tour, I like to do as close as possible if I can get that ticket. But then I like to do the one much further back to take in the entire experience. It sounds to me like you prefer to always be as close to Kylie as possible, though.
Yes and no. I do try to see the show from different angles, but with the craziness and hectic of trying to get tickets for this tour, I was only at the front blocks. Different angles, different sides, but only at the front blocks. For the US tour, I think I have one ticket in the B stage. But the rest of them are kind of up close.
Is that near the center stage?
The Diamond. Yeah, the
Right.
Diamond stage I think it's in Seattle.
Right.
I have a big spreadsheet with all my tickets.
Oh, so. You'd need one. You really would. You'd need one.
I know. And I got to figure out, who am I going with? Who has the ticket? If it's me or one of my friends. It's
That's amazing. Well, tell me this. You're now the official expert of the Tension Tour. Where would you say is the best place to sit to watch that show in its, the best angle possible?
Probably at the front of the catwalk, because then you get a full front view of the show. Because a lot of the times when I was in the front blocks, before the catwalk, the end of the catwalk, I saw a lot of her back.
Right.
She doesn't do a lot on the B stage, but she does interact with the crowd there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of bummed that I only have one ticket in there. One of my friends and I were actually considering buying extra tickets for the B stage when we have tickets in the front and just run over there during locomotion.
Hang on. Can I just wrap my head around that? You've already got tickets at this show you're talking about, but your friend and yourself are thinking of purchasing secondary tickets so that you can run between the seats.
So we can have an excuse to go to the B stage, yes.
I've never heard anything like that in my life.
We are bad influence on each other. So we just talked about it the other day.
Are you going to do it?
I don't know. Probably not.
Do you know what? It's made me think of a similar idea. I don't know why it's come into my head, but if you don't like sitting next to someone on a plane, you can buy the next seat and just have it all to yourself.
Yeah.
Or buy business class, as you say.
This isn't Madonna, and I love listening to Time to Talk.
Tell me about Vegas, Efrat. What was that like? How many times did you go? And everyone talks about it being a very different type of Kylie experience. Was it for you?
Yeah. First of all, the club is tiny. So any seat you have there, any spot you have there is amazing. I started the opening night. I had standing tickets. And although it was somewhat far from the stage, it was not really far. It was maybe, 10 feet from the end of the catwalk.
Wow.
So there was really no bad spot. After that, I had tables for the rest of the shows. And because I've been there so many times and met the staff and made friends with the staff. My friend and I got assigned better tables maybe than we should have.
Yes. Okay.
In some nights, which was amazing. So my dad passed away in November of 2023 after I saw 2 shows. And I had tickets to just a few more. But I was sitting at my parents' house just before Christmas, and I was just looking at the website of the venue, and all of a sudden some tickets showed up, new tables. They decided, I guess, to add more tables, add more tickets. And I just didn't think, and I just booked every single show that I didn't have tickets for.
Wow.
So I ended up going to 18 out of the 20. 18
out of the 20. Wow.
Yeah, I remember messaging my friend who lives in Vegas, Inc., and I told him, so I did a thing, and I got tables of 2 for every single show.
Okay.
Do you want to come with me? And he said yes.
Your friend came along. Wow. What, to all of them? All of the ones where you bought the 2?
Yeah. So he was also at 18 out of the 20. We didn't do the same 18. We both missed 2, but different 2.
Right.
But yeah, we ended up almost all the shows in 2024 together. Most of them in a table right by the catwalk. So it was an amazing experience. There's no barriers. The stage is just about a foot high. I mean, you're standing there and you're almost at Kylie's eye level because she's so tiny.
You lost a parent. How important were those shows to you in negotiating that grief and loss, which you must have been experiencing?
It was a key because before my dad passed away, before he was in ICU, I was considering going to London to see Kylie, to go to the pop-up shop that they had when Tension was released. And I decided not to go because my dad was going through surgery and I needed to be at his bedside. When he woke up from surgery, he asked me why I am not in London. So he knew that that's where I kind of wanted to be, but he appreciated that I stayed by his bedside. And yeah, when he passed away, I was thinking that he would just want me to be there and be happy. So that was part of my reason to just live the moment and buy all those tickets to all those shows, and part of the decision to go to also many Tension tour because it's my happy place. And I know some people that know me and know about my dad were maybe not saying it out loud, but thinking that I shouldn't be, having fun while I'm grieving, the first year especially. But I know he would want me to do that. He would want me to be happy. Every time Kylie sang the Elvis song in Vegas, that was just me and my dad moment because he was a huge Elvis fan.
Oh, you're making me upset.
I'm sorry.
No, Efrat, no, I don't.
And I'll tell you even a sadder story or more interesting story. My friend Inc., who was my partner in crime in Vegas and in some of the shows in Australia too, he lost his dad 3 weeks after I lost mine. So we were both there together, going through the same things, the same emotions. The last night in Vegas, he was crying during Hold On To Now. I was crying during Elvis, the song, and we were both bawling in the car on the way back to his place because it was over and we were happy and sad, and it was just a great connection that we've made.
Yeah. The universe certainly set that up for you and he to be together at that particular time, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've met initially in 2009, but we haven't been close since then. We've been kind of Facebook friends mostly. This past year and a half changed that. I did write her a letter that I gave to her manager sometime in the Vegas tour. And I told her thank you for just being there for me and helping me through this. So I hope she read it.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did.
When everything is caving in, and you don't know what you're gonna do. When everyone is up and gone, and you don't know what will get you through. When you don't know if you should go or stay, you only have to turn my way.
Kylie fans seem to be lovely people. Would you agree?
Yeah, like I said, I've always met like a lot of good friends meeting people at Kylie shows over the years, over different continents.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are happy, friendly people. There's always going to be, someone who is different, but yeah, most of them have been, good experiences, good friends to meet.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to return to that dreaded question, and you can avoid it. You can plead the fifth. You can tell me to mind my own business, but
sure.
How do you do it, Efrat? How do you manage to fund and find the time to be on a seemingly never-ending Kylie journey of joy?
Well, I don't have kids. I have a good income. My husband has a good income. And it makes me happy. So I decided that no matter what it is, I'm going to just do it. And if I can afford it, then why not? Because that's what makes me happy.
It's as simple as that. What does your husband think of all this travel?
He's the one that encouraged me to go to Australia. I wasn't going to because it's such a long flight and such a long journey.
Yeah.
But he's the one that pushed me to do that, especially, and to do all the Vegas shows too. We met when we were 21, and Kylie was kind of in a quiet phase. It was Impossible Princess. But he noticed, I think, the craziness obsession I had with Kylie. And he went on this eBay craze, and he bought me a whole bunch of those 3 inches CDs from Japan.
Oh, I love those in the long boxes.
Yeah. And then he just ignited something, I guess, and that obsession and that collection got bigger and bigger because of that.
So if I was to walk into your house, would I notice Kylie, adorning the walls, for example? Do you have a shrine anywhere for Kylie?
I do, and if we were on video, I would show you. The one extra bedroom we have in the house is a Kylie room.
Wow, Kylie room, everyone. Listen to that. How cool.
Yeah. It's just a collection. It's just so big with all the stuff that I keep buying from, every release and every tour and everything, that it's just, it has its own room now. It's got its own life.
I hope you've got your photos of you with Kylie in amongst the collection, because the collection's lovely, but those memories you've made with Kylie, they've got to be the highlight.
Yeah, they are. I have a bunch of them up in frames. Quite a few of them I got signed too.
Wow.
So like when I met her in LA in 2023, right after Padam went out, I got her to sign the picture of me with her from when I met her the year before in New York. And I've sent stuff over to her and got them returned like a year later. So I think when I meet her, I try to get something personal like that signed, and not just another record or another.
I think that's important.
CD.
Yeah, I think that's lovely, and it's lovely for her too. I would have thought to sign something like that. Can you give us a flavour of what she's like? You've met her enough times now to get what I would imagine would be a fairly good sense, at a minimum, of how she treats her fans, and maybe even a little bit about what she might be like as a person. What's it like to be in Kylie's company?
I always forget my English when I'm near her, which is kind of funny. So, in the last couple of times, I put things in writing, and then I gave her a card because I didn't want to forget what I wanted to say. But she's always been super, super sweet, trying to calm you down because she notices you're nervous.
Yeah.
And she is the tiniest little thing. I mean, I'm not a big person. I'm pretty short. I'm a small person, I think. But next to her, I feel big because she's just so tiny. I just remember the first time I met her, and she put her arm around my shoulder, and I put my arm around her waist. And I don't remember much of that because it was like a dream, but I do remember how small she was and how close my hand was to my own.
Wow.
To my
And
own
that's
body.
even in high heels, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, a lot of people comment on that. You know, she's very diminutive and petite. That's amazing. And have you ever exchanged more than a few words with her, or is it usually just a very brief hi and then get something signed and go? Or have you ever had a little conversation with her?
Not much of it. No, unfortunately I never had a chance to do like a real meet and greet
Yeah.
and talk to her.
I
So
bet
most
you'd
of
love
them,
to, though. I bet you'd
I
love
would
to.
I would love to.
Because you've already told me you get the sense that she's just a really lovely person, and I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think she just is. I've always said I think her emotional intelligence is enormous. I think she senses intuitively things about people, particularly pain and, as you just said there, nervousness or anxiety, and she knows how to intervene. Not many people do. Some people can
Yeah,
see it but don't know how to intervene. Kylie, I
yeah.
mean, wow, she just has a
She's very
gift.
good. She's very good with people. And I remember when I was in LA 2 years ago and met her, my friend was with me, and he was with his husband and two kids, about 8 or 9 year old, I think, at the time. And the joy that she had and the way she interacted with the kids was just incredible.
Wow.
It was a week after Padam came out, and one of the boys, as soon as he got to Kylie, he started singing Padam to her. And she just went down on her knees and bowed down to him and held his hand and was just enjoying the moment. And then I remember she asked him, do you know any other songs of mine? And he's a 8-year-old boy that is just obsessed with Kylie because that's everything that he grew up with from like the day he was born. He didn't see kids' videos, he saw Kylie videos. So he started listing her singles like one by one.
Wow.
And she was just like wowed by the whole experience. And she said something like, "Oh, you should go on tour with me." It was so, so sweet.
She's so great with kids. And I do believe she gets every bit as much from her fans in moments like the ones you just described as we get from her. I mean, she must, Efrat. She must. Otherwise, she wouldn't still do it.
Yeah, she seemed to be very happy in that moment.
How important is Kylie's success to you? At this stage of my life and of Kylie's career, I must admit I like it when she has success, but it wouldn't matter if she had no more success, but she still was doing shows even down at the local RSL club, mate, here in Australia. I'd be going. Like, she's part of my life forever. So I'm curious to know from another mega fan like yourself, how important is it when a moment like Padam comes up in her career to you?
It's important, but like you said, I don't really care. I would go see her at the tiniest little venue, you know, kind of like the anti-tour, singing in her like jeans and t-shirt. I don't need the big production shows. I actually like the small shows better in a way because it's more intimate. but I'm so happy for her when she has like reincarnation moments like Padam.
Yeah.
And that other people get to understand and see and learn to love her, especially here in America. I mean, most people where I work don't know anything about Kylie. Uh, they only do because of me, because I'm brainwashing them. But when
One
Padam comes
B-side
out,
at a time.
yeah, but when Padam comes out and it wins a Grammy and it's on the radio too here, all of a sudden people come to me, oh, I heard Kylie the other day when I was driving to work, and it's amazing.
And honestly, as someone who follows pop culture, I've never seen this. And listeners, if you know of a time, write in and correct me, but I have never seen a star who is a megastar, like one of the peak global stars, but there's a big territory where she just had never captured it properly for one reason or another. And that late in her career to have captured a territory like the United States, and she has captured it, frankly, is just remarkable. It's phenomenal.
It is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
My phone ringtone is her scream when she won that Grammy.
Oh my! That must annoy people.
Oh yes, it does. I tried
love
to keep
that
my
scream.
phone on silent, but it's a beautiful moment, and I was laughing at it when I heard it initially, and then I think it was on our Instagram or something like that. And then I just decided to make a little tone from it, and now every time I get a text, Kylie screams.
I love that. I wish I knew technology well enough to do that. There's so many different Kylie moments you could choose, right? So many Kylie moments you could choose. I'm telling you, this has been a bit of a moment, Efrat. I don't know if it has been for you, but to find someone where Kylie isn't just about the music to you. She's not just about, like, it's the same for me. And I love all the Kylie fans that I know, but I'm just feeling such a connection with you that she fits into your life and your DNA in the same way that she does with mine. That's pretty special that we managed to touch base with each other.
Yeah, Kylie brings people together.
She does indeed. She does indeed. So we brought you on to talk about the Tension Tours, so we'll end there. Compared to her other shows, how do you rate it, and how do you recommend it to people?
It's definitely not extravagant like Aphrodite or even X, but Kylie doesn't need all those props and all those crazy costumes and headpieces. She's just on the Tension Tour. She's just there. She's pure. She's having so much fun on stage, and that makes me happy. She sounds amazing. She looks amazing. That's all I need as a fan.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I couldn't agree more. And I would also just argue a little bit with fans who say that this is a simple show. I think maybe it might come across that way on YouTube, my friends, but once you're there, it's really not. It's deceptively immersive. It really is. You are completely immersed in the world of Kylie. I think a lot of it has
party.
Yeah, a rave, exactly right. And I think a lot of that, the credit goes to that particular K-pop screen that they've got, because we've all seen visuals for Kylie at nearly every tour, besides maybe Enjoy Yourself and Rhythm of Love. The early tours might not have had visuals. Most of the others have been supported in some way. But these screens are next level. Like, I was blown away by the high definition of them all, and they're just incredible. They're incredible screens.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of videos of those screens, like from those intermissions. More than I have of like the actual show in some ways, because they were so incredible. I mean, the Confide in Me screens and the Tension screens are just amazing.
They really are. And Sophie Muller has shot those apparently. So she's working again with people that she knows and trusts. So Efrat, let's finish here. When's your next show? When's your next big Kylie event coming up?
3 weeks from today, I am going to be leaving to Toronto. So the 29th and the 30th are my next show, Toronto and Montreal.
You got a little bit of a break. So she's basically, she'll be cavorting all over Asia while you're preparing for the next lot of shows in North America.
When I'm being an adult and working, yes.
Efrat, it's been lovely speaking with you. It's been delightful. You sound like a very, very lovely person too. And literally, I think it's important for me to say thank you on behalf of the fans for spreading that Kylie joy in your travels, because you don't just stick to yourself. You take that beautiful Kylie doll around the place. You inspire people and prepare them and get the excitement going in anticipation of the tour. And you're certainly doing your bit on behalf of all the fans. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I love doing it.
Wow, I absolutely love this interview. I want to be her when I grow up. This is just absolutely fabulous. You know, that attention to detail about going to the first show and wearing the outfit from light to camera action. That doll, I want a doll. Just putting it out there to the universe. That what a cute little doll that I saw in that picture. And just the passion that she has for Kylie. I mean, talk about a mega fan. I mean, you and I are mega fans. This woman is also there, like, to the extra mile. Like, I love the fact of her passion for her, not just the music, not just the shows, not just the fact that Kylie is Kylie, but for Kylie as a person. You know, she respects her, she appreciates her, like we all do. Like, all true Kylie fans have that deep love for her as a person and follow her because she is lovely, because she is wonderful, because she does treat everyone with respect. You know, the fact that she's going to all these shows, I'm a little jealous, not going to lie, but wow, love it. And the fact that she's met her so many times, also jealous, still on my bucket list to meet the princess herself. Have not gone there, have not done that, but one day that's my goal. I may die at the same time, but that's fine. It's a good way to go. But no, love this interview. It gave me all the Kylie feels. It hyped me up for Kylie even more than normal. Absolutely love it. It was just such a treasure and pleasure to listen to it. And I want more. I want to find out all of her Kylie experiences. Might be checking out her Facebook page to see all those photos got signed. But no, wonderful, great interview. Loved it as always. I'm on a Kylie high now. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I feel like anything could happen. The stars look different tonight. They're glowing all around me. It's flowing through my body. I can feel it. I can feel it. Don't know if I'm awake or dreaming. There must be something in the air. The time is disappearing. This moment's never leaving. I can feel it. I can feel it. You got me started, and nothing on earth can stop it. It's crazy, I'm falling. I don't know what else to call it. But do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? Dancing together, ain't nothing that could be better. Tomorrow don't matter, we'll make the night last forever. But do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic?
You've been a Kylie fan since 85 with the Henderson kids. I was there right with you, my friend. I was watching the Henderson kids as well.
Wasn't it such a good show?
It was,
like, so
yes.
innocent, like so 80s. It's only 2 seasons though, and it's like, oh wow, and it launched the careers of Ben Mendelsohn and Kylie and Nadine Garner, and it was such a brilliant show. Brilliant.
And fun fact, you might already know this, but the little lad on it with the big teeth, he went into the Australian military. And
I did know that.
Yeah. And Kylie, when she went to East Timor to perform, there's photographs of her with an adult, whatever his name was, Chuck or something. I can't remember the character's name. But isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. And he was in Neighbours as well.
Was he? I never knew that.
Yeah, he played this ratty kid who was staying with Des and Daphne, I think. Yeah.
Obviously before Daphne died.
Yeah, well, way before. I think this was in the beginning, so when it went to Channel 10.
As long as he wasn't driving the car, that's the main thing.
No, and I think he was friends with the original Lucy.
Oh, really?
Whose real name was Kylie Finkler.
I remember when Lucy was making prank calls to someone and she got the whistle blown in her ear. Do you remember that?
Yes, and she went partially deaf. Oh, Lord.
And also, talking of Daphne's accident, a lot of people remember when Daphne died, how sad it was. But there was someone, and I can't remember if it was Des or someone else, had to go through hypnotism to remember the number plate.
Oh, dear.
I don't know who it was. It might have been Jane. I don't know. I feel like it was a female character, but there you go.
How have we gone 40 years with Neighbours?
I know.
Storylines and the fact that it's finishing again.
Yes. Well, Kylie will be pleased because I think she was a little bit displeased when they got her back under false pretenses, right?
She sounded like Madge when she said Harold's name. And
she did.
Ain't Harold. Harold. And I was like, but I remember reading an article or watching an article with her and Jason saying they didn't want to overdo it. They didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah, but there's also such a thing as underdoing it. It was really ridiculous, wasn't it? I don't want to steal the show. I understand that, but Home Sweet Home and Harold was about all she said. Yeah.
I know. Every time I see Madge, I'm like, Charlene.
You and I are real tragics, aren't we? And so the listeners know too. Alan Fletcher, who plays
Dr. Carl.
Dr. Carl, yes. Mm-hmm. I've been talking to him about coming on the show, and he wants to, but he's just not sure if he's allowed and all of this sort of stuff. So interesting. We might be able to speak to Dr. Carl at some stage. What would you ask Dr. Carl if he came on the show, Simon?
Why didn't he just stay with Sarah or Izzy? I just feel like they were the hottest couple back then.
Is that the one who went on to a pop career?
Izzy was Natalie Bassingthwaighte.
Yes,
yeah.
Rogue Traders, is that what they were called?
Yes, the Rogue Traders, who just performed in
Shirley Valentine.
The Chill Out, and the Chill Out Festival in Dalesford this weekend.
Wow.
Her and the Rogue Traders, and she's very talented, very talented.
Simon, you are a pop culture fiend like me. I love it.
Well, anything to do with Neighbours and Kylie and Danny.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. I met Danny not last year, the year before.
Really?
For the first time at Sound Merch in Collingwood. She did 20 years of Neon Nights.
Oh, yes.
Met the fans.
That was a big queue from memory.
It was. And I was kind of up the front because I was early and I was shaking. I didn't know what to say, and
I would shake too.
Yeah, and she's just stunning.
What did you get signed? Not Love and Kisses, I hope.
No, I got Girl, the Australian 25 anniversary release signed.
Okay. Yeah.
And I purchased there on the day the picture disc of Neon Nights signed as well, and a card signed.
What was she like up close?
She's perfect, absolutely tiny. Mm-hmm. But Kylie's tinier. and she wore this beautiful pink dress, and she was so generous with everyone. She was having a chat with us all and laughing and dancing and just gorgeous, just really beautiful.
They're a classy family, that Minogue clan, aren't they?
They are. They are.
And I know that they were all of them, even the nephews and Danny's partner, they were all at one of the Melbourne shows.
They
Attention to her.
Yeah.
I hear you didn't get to go to that though, Simon.
No, I've been a little unwell, and I also suffer from anxiety and a depressive disorder. So it was a lot. I was initially meant to go to Sydney with a good friend, and I just couldn't afford to go to Sydney. He said, look, leave it with me. I'll try and swap your ticket over to a Melbourne show. And he did. And it was right in front of the Diamond stage at the tour.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I knew a couple of people that were going to be in the vicinity of that seating arrangement or seating area. And my illness just got the better of me.
Okay.
And I was pretty bummed, and I was like, no, I'm happy to sit it out. But once I saw people's videos and the comments, and I'm like, oh, I really regret not going.
Were they people you didn't want to run into? Is that what you mean?
No, not at all. Like, they were people I met meeting Danny. They were just friends of the Facebook group. Who I've just become friends with. One I hadn't even ever met, and we've just remained friends. And she only lives up the road from me, so we're like yet to meet, and we were going to meet at Kylie, her and her partner, and I was like, oh my God. And then I said, I can't come because I'm just too unwell.
Yeah, it was too overwhelming. And look, good on you for recognising that though, Simon, in a way. That takes some courage, doesn't it?
Yeah. And my friend was lucky enough, he was able to sell the ticket, so I went to someone really nice. But a girlfriend of mine who did go to the Saturday show, she got me a key ring, so I can't wait to get that off her.
Awesome.
But very disappointed that there was no tour program this time around, because I'm a bit of a collector of the tour programs.
I'm wondering what's going on globally. First, Madonna's Celebration Tour, no program.
And Taylor Swift. No tour program?
Taylor Swift, even though she earned billions in merchandise. You might be able to answer this. Did Golden have one?
Yes, it did.
Right. So this is the first Kylie tour without one. But, some people I've asked about it and they've said, it's because of the environment. And I'm like, I don't think so, because then you wouldn't be selling all this plastic rubbish.
Well, that's it. I saw people with Kylie carry bags that look like recycled brown paper bags with handles.
Yeah.
And then I look at the T-shirt brand that they use aren't very ethical or sustainable either, and then don't really cater to plus size. I'm plus size, so I was like, and then I look at the prices and I'm like, no.
I just think it must be economic, and I'm surprised because I would have thought programs would be a money spinner, but if they're not doing them anymore, there has to be. There's no way they don't do things based business people. I'm not talking about Kylie or Madonna. I'm talking about the business people, the bean counters, and believe me, I work with some bean counters and I know what they're like. The only reason that there's no tour program has to be some sort of economic reason. Has to be.
Yeah. But then you look at the bean counters who release calendars, and vinyl sleeves, and is that all sustainable and good for the environment?
Well, vinyl certainly isn't. In fact, who is it? It's Billie Eilish, I think, who is right up on her high horse about that. She doesn't do vinyl. In fact, I think she had a go at Taylor Swift for releasing so many versions of vinyl.
Yeah. Is that a thing now? It's just like 17 different variants. Like, I can't keep up. Like, Kylie,
Simon, it's an important conversation to have because you are a collector.
Yeah. Was.
What, you don't collect anymore?
No, I don't collect anymore because, one, they're just so expensive.
Yeah.
Because they are made in countries like Germany, and it is very expensive to produce them. And I walk into my local JB Hi-Fi and I'm just astounded at the prices of vinyl.
Like, how much are we talking about in Australian dollars?
we're talking what Kylie's tension. Some of the variants were around $60.
You're kidding. That's
which
a
is a
rip-off.
lot of money. And when you are of a certain age and you used to go to brushes and you see Kylie's debut album for next to nothing because it was made
$5.
in Australia.
Yeah.
And you could justify it. Now I can't justify it. And more than 90% of my collection was unopened. I couldn't bring myself to open them and listen to them. And it just got out of hand. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I spending this unnecessary money?
Well, part of the reason you were doing it, tell me if I'm wrong, was because you presented these nicely in your house. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm fairly sure I've seen photos where you had beautiful presentations of collections, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, particularly my Kylie collection.
Yeah.
Which takes all day to clean with the dust.
Does it really? Wow.
Yeah, all day. And I'm because I'm a Gemini as well as Kylie, and our birthdays are very close to one another. And I'm a very perfectionist when it comes to my Kylie collection. I know I don't have the biggest collection because I've seen bigger and better. But yeah, I never thought I would ever sell my Kylie vinyls, but they are duplicates and they're all still sealed because I just can't bring myself to open them.
So take us through, well, let's start here. Why are you selling the duplicates? Is this a financial reason?
It is. Cost of living, rent has gone up dramatically.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Food, electricity, water. Then I have medications to buy, and even though I'm on a concession, I have a lot of medications.
Yeah.
So it is financial, and I just think, well, I've got multiple copies of all the Kylie albums pretty much on vinyl.
But Simon, I honestly think if Kylie knew about your circumstances, cost of living, she's well aware of that in Australia.
Yeah.
I reckon she'd be going, yeah, good for you. That is the mature choice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't take them with you when we go.
No.
I'd probably donate them to the art centre in Melbourne. Or sell them to a really good collector who I know will look after them. But for now, I'm holding on to them for dear life, but just getting rid of the duplicates.
So tell us about the duplicates you're selling, and I'm also going to give you the chance, if you want to take it, to tell people how they can get their hands on it. How many are we talking about? How many duplicates are you selling?
There's about 20, I would say.
Wow,
15,
that's decent.
20.
That's
There's
decent.
some Danny Minogue in there that I had duplicate. Being a Gemini, I buy 2 of everything, or 3 or 4, which I found out today that I had 12 copies of Fever. And I was
on
like,
vinyl?
On vinyl. Who needs 12 copies? I don't.
Wow.
And I've only ever opened one to listen to it, and I only listened to the first side because Love at First Sight is my anthem. And in my other collections, I was collecting Madonna, Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson.
But can I ask, what do you recall why you purchased 12 copies of Fever?
Because it was Kylie. And I thought
it's a good album too, right?
Major FOMO as well. Like, I always miss out. I always see other people getting all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm not going to miss out anymore. I'm going to go and get it, and I'm going to get every copy I can, and hold on to it, because Fever, I outwore the cassette, I outwore the CDs. I had that many copies on the CD. I just kept playing it over and over and over, and I still play it over and over.
Good for you. Well, I mean, that is a fine choice, I've got to say. So out of interest, and I have no idea, you've got 11 to sell, well, in theory, not that you are necessary, but you've got excess. Are they worth more now than when you bought them?
Yeah, definitely.
They are, really?
Yeah. I did a little research before I went to sell them on the Vinyl Lovers Australia Facebook page.
Okay.
There's also a Kylie Minogue Australia marketplace. So I did a little research on Discogs and what other retailers were selling them for.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. I'm not about making profit. It's
No,
just
but there's
really to
nothing
keep a
wrong with
roof
it.
over my head. And yeah.
Okay, and do you mind me asking how much are they going for? The Fever, for example.
So I'm only really selling one copy of the
Yeah.
Fever for now, but I'm only selling that for like $40 or $50, including postage.
Okay.
Because a lot of people want post, and I have to cover that expense.
Yeah, of course. And we'll go through how people can get in touch with you soon. But what else have you got? Is there any what we'd call rarities, or are they all the big major items, and are they all vinyl?
Well, they're all vinyl.
Yep.
The only rare one or two rare ones is Impossible Princess, the picture vinyl.
Oh, very nice.
Which retails for about $120.
Yeah. And it's all sealed and in mint condition?
All still sealed, all in plastic sleeves. I never open them.
Regularly dusted?
Regularly cleaned, yeah, and I often change the plastic sleeves as well because they can get a little grotty.
Yeah, yep.
Especially if I'm like in my Kylie collection just staring at it, drooling. Yeah, and probably the other one would be the Neon Nights picture disc, which goes for about $90 to $100 online. Yeah.
Well, that's very decent. And I'm telling you what, for what it's worth, and I have no idea if this is in your care factor at all, but you'd be spreading a lot of joy because the joy that they've brought you and having all those copies is going to be shared because the only person who's going to buy them from you, Simon, is someone who loves Kylie as much as you.
Absolutely. And who's got a little bit of extra cash lying around. And, I see a lot of people selling their vinyls at the moment because cost of living. I mean, they're not the most expensive ones I've seen. The limited edition Cherry Red box sets of her first 4 albums.
I love those.
I had those and I regrettably had to sell them.
Yeah.
I sold my copy of Aphrodite on vinyl. I sold my Kiss Me Once vinyl, which I actually bought when it was released. I managed to find it in a JB Hi-Fi, just hiding behind Madonna.
I don't want to be rude, Simon, but nobody else in the world wanted that.
No. I did.
Kiss Me Once. It wasn't her best effort.
No, a lot of people say that, and I think for me there's only one song that really wasn't the best, and that was I Was Gonna Cancel.
Oh, I love that.
But other than that, Into the Blue is pop perfection. And I went to that tour, and it was a brilliant tour.
Yeah.
I still love listening.
Did Giorgio Moroder come out on your stage?
He did, yes.
And
Betty Who was the support act. And
who was, sorry?
Betty Who.
Betty Who. Oh, right. I thought you said Betty Boo.
No, not Betty. Could you imagine? Would she mind?
She was also very mean about Kylie back in the day. Very mean.
She was, as was the lead singer of Transvision Vamp.
She was too, yes. Wendy.
I'm like, I don't like you. Wendy James.
Wendy James, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Colette, she wanted to be the next Kylie, and look what happened to hers. Nothing.
None of them come close.
None of them.
Betty Boo was asked about Kylie, and well, at least according to Smash Hits, which was a Bible of truth, as we all know. And she was said, they asked her, what do you think of Kylie? And she goes, rolls her eyes. She's just a starlet, isn't she? Yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh, the controversy.
How dare she? And then she comes to Australia, for those of you who don't know. I'm sure it was Australia. You'll know better than me, actually, by the sound of it. But it was the biggest scandal ever because what happened again? The mic actually stopped, but the vocals kept going.
Tracks. Yeah.
And it was boo, boo. She got actually virtually chased out of the country. Yeah. It was Australia's version of Milli Vanilli.
Well, I mean, look at them, and one of them's trying to make a comeback.
Yes, I noticed that. Yeah.
I'm like, no, please don't. Like, leave it to the ones that were really good in the 80s, like Rick. I saw Rick Astley when he came here. And
isn't he great?
He was amazing.
Oh, he's great.
Live.
True talent.
Still got it. Yeah,
Oh,
true
yes.
talent.
And a gentleman. And a gentleman.
And a gentleman and a real like crowd pleaser.
Yeah, absolutely. Not afraid, not snobby enough to play the old tracks. He also did a reimagined album, not so maybe during COVID, but I loved that. I didn't love all of them, but I loved the reimagining of those early tracks.
Yes.
Most of them a bit like Abbey Road, turning them into ballads and giving them a flavour we'd never heard before. So Simon, if people want to get in touch with you, if they're a bit interested, if they want to come sniffing around your collection, so to speak, how would they get in touch with you?
So they can PM me on Facebook or DM me, whatever they say nowadays.
I don't even know, actually. I had to write that to someone today at work, and I had to write, I've DM'd you, and then as I sent it, I thought, is that what people say anymore? Is it IM?
People say I slid into your messages. I'm sliding into your messages or your DM.
I know.
That is foul. Yeah. You turn them off, Kim.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on Facebook. There's also a Facebook group called Vinyl Lovers Australia, which has over 1,000 members.
Right.
So I've posted it on there.
But what name are they looking up on Facebook for you?
I think Simon Anderson.
Simon Anderson, SON or AN or EN?
ANDERSON. I had to think then.
Yeah, that's all right. There's a few different spellings. So Simon Anderson, and you're pretty much a part of most Kylie Facebook groups as well, I've noticed. Yeah, so people won't have any trouble. I can also put a link under this if people want to click on that and get through to you. Yeah. But Simon, look, I hope we can stay in touch. I know it's a big thing for you to talk to a strange person like me, but I really appreciate it.
Oh, I don't feel you're strange now. And to be honest, I don't think I've actually listened to the podcast, so you'll have to send me the link.
Now, did you hear that, listeners? The only reason Simon's talking to me is because he's never heard the podcast. If he had,
I know,
he probably wouldn't be talking to me.
I see it on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should really listen to that, because there was one that I was listening to about Kylie and Danny.
Yep.
But they haven't done one for a while.
Yeah, I do enjoy that show. That's the what's that called again? This is Disco.
This is Disco. Yeah.
And they're big Kylie fans. I actually get a bit worried about them because it's been since September or something like that, I think.
Yeah. I know Adam went to Kylie.
Yeah.
He went to the Saturday show, so I often message him to check in.
Oh, good. So they're alive and well.
Yeah, he's alive and well, and
very good.
I think he's just been very busy. So but it's a good podcast. I'm sure yours will rock my socks off.
Simon, no pressure at all. Regular listeners are going, don't count on it, Simon. But I'll definitely send you the link, and you can tell me what you think. But it is absolutely lovely to connect with you. So Australian, so into pop culture, right in the same vintage as me. Henderson kids, neighbours, you love all your characters, and you're a collector. And I know you've got a great collection because your photos are extraordinary, quite frankly.
Yeah, I wish the collection was bigger, but it's a lot of dusting.
That's a lot of dusting. Who needs it? Who was the lady, was it Paula Duncan, who used to run around going, spray and wipes up?
Yes, Paula Duncan. Yeah,
I can just imagine.
Australian legend.
That's a bit like you in the Kylie room.
Yeah. Although I have to lay on the floor sometimes and listen to her while I'm cleaning and reorganise. I just like things to be perfect. They have to be in alphabetical order, and
yeah. Well, if you're going to have a collection, you might as well do it right.
Well, that's right. Exactly. And as I said, it's not the biggest collection, and the ones that I have seen, I'm like blown away.
Oh, I know. There's
blown away.
There's some amazing ones out there, aren't there? They really are. And
I'm just really humbled by mine, and I'm holding on to it.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Good on you, and good on you for being courageous and doing what you have to do to get by, because that's what we all have to do at this stage.
Yeah, I think we all got to do something. It's not easy for everyone.
No.
Especially we've had years of lockdowns in Melbourne, and ill health has led me to this. But I'm not parting with rare stuff, but yeah, it's good stuff. It's still sealed. It's still in mint condition.
Well, all you're doing, Simon, is redistributing the Kylie joy.
That's it.
And for that, I'm going to thank you on behalf of all the fans. It was lovely talking to you, Simon.
You too. Thank you.
Whenever I listen to Tim and his panel of guests, my toes begin to curl, and I feel just the right amount of tingling all over my aching body. Now, let's get back to the show.
You live in China and you love Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
How did you discover Kylie Minogue?
Well, I love international pop music. I was a fan of Britney Spears and Madonna. I just want to follow some other pop stars, so I signed up for Instagram.
I've been told that in China they call Kylie Minogue the Pea Princess. Is that true? Pea Princess?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Why do they call her Pea Princess?
Well, it just fans the sister love her, so I don't know if that's.
It's a funny name. It might be because she's very small.
Yeah.
What's your favourite Kylie Minogue song, Violet?
Well, it's hard to choose. Kylie has so much good songs. If I had to choose, I would choose Celebrate You and Say Something.
Oh, wow. Both from the Disco album.
Yeah. Disco album, this album has given me great encouragement and it brings me joy.
Fantastic. What year did you find Kylie Minogue? What year was it? In 2000?
About 5 years ago.
So the first album of Kylie Minogue for you was Disco.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Kylie Minogue has been to China before. She's been to Shanghai and Beijing. So she's actually brought concerts to your country.
Yes, but I did not born at this year.
No, you were too young.
Yeah.
How old are you now, Violet?
I'm 16.
Only 16. Fantastic. And you're in high school?
Yep.
That's wonderful. Can you tell me, why do you like Kylie Minogue? Like, why do you like an Australian artist instead of maybe a Chinese pop star?
I was attracted by Kylie's voice and her beauty. And I know Kylie, her story. I think Kylie is a very kind and brave woman. Kylie is amazing.
She is very kind. You're right about that. So if Kylie comes to China again, you would go and see her in concert?
Well, I will, but I don't have enough money to see her concert.
Neither do many of us, believe me. Lots of us don't have enough money. So do you like the album Tension and Tension 2?
Well, it's a good album. I love the song Tension most.
You love which song?
I like Tension and Green Light.
Oh, Green Light. It's a good song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent song. Fantastic. Does Kylie make you want to come to Australia one day?
Well, I will. I want to visit her hometown.
You want to visit her hometown. Fantastic. And one last question, Violet. If Kylie Minogue was listening to this, what would you say to her?
I'd like to say thank you, Kylie. You give me a lot of encouragement and joy. I'm glad to meet you, a woman like you. I love you forever. That's it.
That is fantastic, Violet. Violet, I have to say you speak English very, very well.
Well, thank you. It's kind of you.
Do you learn English at school?
Yeah, all the Chinese should learn English at school.
I see. Can your parents speak English?
My parents, they can speak English.
They can. Okay. You speak it beautifully. It's been very easy to understand you, and I'm glad you've been able to understand me too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Violet. It's been lovely talking to you.
Well, thank you. It's glad to meet you.
Beautiful to meet you too.
Tension. I wanna break the tension. Tension. Somebody break the tension.
It's a pleasure to talk with you. How do I pronounce your name? Is it Giang?
Yes, my name's Giang. Giang.
Giang.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope I'm pronouncing it nicely for you.
Very, very nice.
How are you?
I'm good. Just exhausted from the last night show, which was fantastic. Like, I could not stop dancing or like standing. It's really loud and nice, energetic.
Giang, I read, a little birdie told me that Kylie looked right into your eyes when she sang Please Stay.
Yes, correct. It was a moment like, actually I prepare like a poster that write down the Please Stay, and she spotted, and then she just looked me straight in the eyes and sent it to me beautifully. Like, it was like a moment in heaven for me.
That is amazing. What was your poster? What poster did you have of Kylie?
It's just like I wrote down the Please Stay. Actually, it's not only mean it a song. It also like I want her to stay here like forever, not leaving the show in Bangkok. Yeah, that's what I meant. Both ways.
Hey, Giang, I don't want to be rude, but you can't have Kylie. You can borrow Kylie sometimes. You can't have her.
No. Yeah, I know. Everybody wants her. I know that.
She's very sexy, isn't she?
Oh my god. Let me tell you, she's so beautiful. I know she's beautiful, but in real life, like she's like a living doll. It's like I cannot imagine a woman could be beautiful like that. To be honest.
I know it's 2025 and maybe I'm not allowed to say this anymore, but you're very beautiful yourself, Giang.
Oh, thank you. You're very nice. You're very kind, Tim.
It's true.
Thank you.
It's very true. So can I ask, all our listeners would love to know what the Bangkok show was like. She starts off with lights, camera, action.
Yes.
I've heard that she doesn't come down from the swing like she's done in other shows.
No.
It starts a little bit differently.
Yeah. Yes, correct. Because let me say, it's not like a regular venue for her typical show. It's kind of intimate venue, but she make it up for us everything like it's very energetic. Like the crowd would like standing all throughout the show. I see no one sitting down. No one.
So in Bangkok, what I noticed from the photographs is there were lots of seats near the stage, and that hasn't happened in other areas down on the floor, but nobody sat in the chairs anyway.
No one. So that you can imagine how the show would be like. If you were here with me, I think you would feel the energy, the atmosphere as well. And actually,
absolutely.
Actually, right now, I want to revive the moment so much that I sit in the Baragon Hall right now talking to you. Like,
isn't that fantastic? You want to relive the moment.
Relive the moment, yes. Relive that. Oh my God. It's one of a lifetime for me, to be honest. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and get all the gossip here. So the songs that she sang on the center stage, we've already heard she sang Please Stay, possibly because of you. No, indeed because of you, right? Because you broke up a bit. Your poster said Sing Please Stay, did it? Is that what it said?
Yes, correct.
So well done. You got her to sing. And that's a great song from Light Years. We love that song.
Yes.
And did she sing any other songs a cappella without the band?
Yeah, she did. I should be so lucky.
Ah.
Yeah, it's like a request song and also like the viral snippet. Like she went to hand the role for the fan and then she sang it to him or her. I don't know. I don't remember.
Giang, what did you think of her costumes?
Actually, there's not much of a change for like this like regular. Just like the previous show that she's done, and but the clothes fit her beautifully in real life. When you see it in the YouTube video, it looks fantastic. But when you get to put closer to that, it's like a masterpiece. So it's great.
Yeah, I think you're so right about that. You can't really get a feel for any show, especially Kylie, unless you're there. YouTube doesn't do it justice.
Yes, correct.
Isn't it fantastic that she went to Thailand too? She doesn't always travel to Bangkok for a tour, but she did this time. Tell me, were the audience really excited when she first arrived?
Yes, everyone like so looking forward to her. And when the live camera shakes in, like the intro burst out, like they all standing up and like the camera like was flashing. Like they really were looking forward to see Kylie after so many long time.
How were you feeling when she was about to arrive? Because there's a lot of tension in the room at that point, isn't there?
Correct. Fantastic. Like I was so looking forward to see her that really nice.
And have you seen her live before?
Yes. Actually, last year I went to F1 concert in Singapore.
Oh, yes.
She was headlining for one night. And yes, and also on a previous tour, like the Golden Tour, I follow her throughout Australia. So I'm kind of an fan.
Yeah, you came to Australia for the Golden Tour.
Yes, correct.
Oh, wow.
And actually, I'm going to see her in Madison Square Garden in April and in Washington, D.C.
Dang, that's amazing.
Oh my God, I know. I'm just massive fan for 20 years.
Well, you know, this is going to be a milestone moment at Madison Square Garden because she's never performed there before, for a start. And second of all, it's a symbol of success in a way, isn't it? Madison Square Garden only hosts the world's biggest stars.
Oh, yes, I cannot agree more about that. Like, it's very iconic stage.
You've loved Kylie for 30 years, you said, but you are from Vietnam. Is Kylie big in Vietnam? How have you managed to stay across her career for 30 years?
Actually, Vietnam is not highly demographic, so I don't think not many people like know her. But she got a really strong, like a loyal fan base in Vietnam.
Okay.
A few was very loyal, and also I knew her from Can't Get You Out My Head. So like about more than 20 years, not 30 years. I was a baby. I was a baby at that time. So yeah.
So from Fever onwards, you were hooked.
Yes, like the first time when I saw Can't Get You Out My Head, like I just ran down to the CD store to collect all of her album and DVD, and from that my journey as a Kylie fan just went on and went on.
What is it about Kylie that you love? What is it about her?
For me, I think she's so charming. Like she has like a sexiness vibe, but very classy. And also from the moment when she was diagnosed with cancer, and then she fought it, and she came back to us from to the Sugar Homecoming. It's like she's like an icon for me, not only in music but also as a person, as a fighter.
As a woman.
As a
Yeah,
woman, yes.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Oh, I couldn't have said that better. I think most Kylie fans are not just here for the music, even though that is brilliant. It's for the person. And by the way,
Yeah.
Giang, you've come to Australia, so you already know all Australians are charming.
Yeah, you too. You are charming, Mr. Power.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're just born with it, Giang. We're
Oh,
born with it.
oh, nice.
But so are people from Vietnam.
Mufasa! Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa! What? Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa! Get it, Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa! Get it, Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa!
The one thing we have in common, though, Aaron, and this is the start, is our Kylie, and she is bloody amazing. I'm sitting here. It's 5 o'clock. I know you've just got back from work, and I hope it's all right with you. I've just poured the little Chardonnay. So apologies if I'm feeling a little bit more uplifted than you after coming off the back of work.
Won't be far behind you.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, feel free. But you went to one of the Kylie shows, and I'm dying to find out what people thought of the Kylie show. You're a long-term Kylie fan. I've read all your lots of your posts on Facebook, and I've seen your name around. This is the first time we've met, so
it is.
Nice to meet you, Aaron.
You too.
But how was that show in Sydney for you? Tell us all about it.
I really loved it. Yeah. I haven't seen Kylie for a very long time. In fact, the last time I saw Kylie was at the very front row in the very middle of the Capitol Theatre for the Impossible Princess tour. So we're talking
okay,
a long time ago.
Screeching stop. Aaron, why has it taken you so long to get back and see Kylie since Intimate and Live? Really?
I don't really know. I saw Rhythm of Love when I was a teenager, and
good man.
Look, Kylie was always, she was our princess. Especially if you're a 90s gay kid growing up in the countryside, we had, Madonna was God, and Kylie was second to me, and so Kylie means a lot to me. And even when the Impossible Princess era came, and I mean, it's incredible to think that I went and saw her at the Capitol Theatre. It's a testament to how incredible her career has been that she came back from that level of popularity when she tried to convince everybody she was cool.
And it was a great show too, wasn't it? I was there. You and I must have been in the same vicinity many times, I'd say. Rhythm of Love, check. Capitol Theatre, check.
I went down the indie Kylie thing. I was happy to go down it. And I guess then later on, I still loved Kylie, but I guess I sort of got into, I became a sort of more into underground club scenes. So I still had my little pop moments, but I just, for some reason, I never aligned with the Kylie tour again. And this time I was just feeling a bit nostalgic, and I quite liked the new albums. I wasn't a huge fan of a couple of them recently, I suppose.
Which one? So Disco wasn't up your alley?
I didn't like the country one, but not many people did. But everyone seemed to love disco, and weirdly enough, it wasn't really up my alley. I'm not a huge classic disco vibe fan, so I was hoping it was going to be...
you're starting to give us a flavour already. If you're underground, it makes sense to me that the sweetness of disco might not have been quite to your liking.
No, it was just a little too saccharine for me. And tension sort of... I feel that tension, if you look at the tensions... plural. I kind of liked it once the second one came out. I felt it was a little bit like Rebel Heart, like there's heaps of songs, and there's a good album in there and a not so good album in there. And I think I can personally put a few of this one and a few of that one together from the two tensions, and I've got an album I really enjoy. So I was with the new music. I really loved the song Tension. That was really...
I'm making some assumptions here. Sorry to interrupt, Aaron, but now that I'm getting a flavour of what you like, I'm not surprised the Tension Tour is up your alley because it's got a bit of a darker vibe about it. In general, there are some flowery songs, but generally it's got a bit more of a rock. What was that?
It also had a bit of a slight rave element to it too.
Yes.
Yeah. So when this came around, I thought, well, I do like some of the new music, and I thought in a way, look, this is no disrespect to her. I'm sure she's got a long way to go and more amazing things in front of her. But I thought, well, she's at that age. She's still in her peak right now. She's put out.
Sorry, when someone starts
anymore.
Someone starts that sentence with "at this age." ... Oh golly, we're starting to hear that about Kylie.
Well, we are, but I guess To be really
she
blunt.
did all right for an old boiler.
Well, she's not doing. It's not even that I don't think she's doing all right for an. I think she's actually not old yet. Like that's the thing. Like she's not young, but she's not old. Like she's still kicking it.
She's golden.
Yeah, she's golden. So I thought, well, this is probably a good time to go and see her, and in some ways, just sort of like pay my respects to.
Aaron,
she was in my life. You know what I mean?
Choose your words. You came to see Kylie, attention to her, so you could pay your respects.
Well, not to pay my respect, but no, in a nice way, to acknowledge that Kylie Minogue was, a huge. Sometimes I liked her more than other times, but overall, Kylie was, a big deal in my life. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go and do it, and I'm going to get the deer tickets, and I'm going to go and do it properly. And if I don't ever see her again live, at least this is it. So I, in some ways, put a little bit of pressure on the experience for me.
Yeah, you put a lot of tension into it. Now, listen. So you've brought us right to the edge of the diving board. We all want to hear what you thought of the show. But are you willing to play a game with me first before you give us your verdict?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Aaron, this game is called Acceptable or Not Acceptable. Just get this music under control in the studio.
Unacceptable music.
Okay, acceptable or unacceptable. Aaron, here we go. Are shorts acceptable at a Kylie concert? Wearing shorts to a Kylie concert?
Acceptable, yeah, I did. Yeah.
You did?
I did, yeah.
You weren't paying your respects then, were you?
I was. I thought I mean, if anything, if they were going to be paying my respects to the history of Kylie, they would have been little denim cut-offs or something, but they weren't. They were respectable. They wear respectable shorts. It was
respectable shorts. I'm hearing this a lot, that there are acceptable shorts and non-acceptable shorts. I don't know what the difference is. What is it? Kmart and Cotton On or what?
Oh, no. I think mine were like G-Star Raw. Yeah.
G-Star Raw. I've never even heard of it. Gee, I'm a fashionista. Okay, acceptable or unacceptable? $8 for a bottle of water at the Kylie concert.
Yeah, unacceptable.
Yeah. Did you go?
They're pretty ridiculous, yeah.
I was one person at the show, so I only had two hands, but I was carrying a beer in one, water in the other. It cost me about $182. It was a really bad start to the show for me. Yeah. Acceptable or unacceptable? No songs from Let's Get To It, Impossible Princess, X, Golden, or Kiss Me Once.
For me, I mean, look, it's all subjective. So for me personally, it was all fine, except I have a couple of really big moments on X. X was a moment for me. And I was, I was a little bit disappointed. My favorite Kylie song is The One.
Ooh, a lot of people are saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely. I like, there's different Kylies, and for me, I like that kind of dreamy synth wave kind of pop Kylie. And so when she gets the synth pads going in there, there's sort of a slightly more sort of melancholic, sweet melodies. And so I love The One. But I mean, look, everybody has said things that they want.
But Tension had a harder vibe. I think The One would have fit in if they'd chosen to put it in. Okay, acceptable or not acceptable? No Dannii Minogue popping up on stage anywhere in Australia, including the Melbourne show, which she did come to watch.
I can see how people would think that's unacceptable, but for me personally, I wouldn't really care.
Not that big a Dannii fan?
No, look, I had my Dannii moment. I think I've got the city single of Success and Love and Kisses. Very long time ago.
Oh my God, your musical tastes are all over the place.
Yeah, well, I had my 14-year-old smash hits phase, and I think Dannii was fully in that phase. Yeah,
I love that. Have you still got it? Do you?
Yeah, I've got all my CDs. I've got like a whole cupboard full of like all my CDs. Yeah, I used to pocket my pocket money, my lunch money, and go to the record shop and buy CD singles and cash singles.
We're all so predictable. We all tell the same story. I used to do the same thing. I used to get my pocket money. I think I got maybe $5 a week or so, but two of that, or maybe $1.50 at the beginning, went to smash hits for a start. Anyway, But there you go. Final one, acceptable or not acceptable? Jazzy P to appear at the London show.
Oh, acceptable.
And if you don't know who Jazzy P is, that's
no,
fine.
I know who Jazzy P is. Yeah, totally acceptable. Yeah.
Would you? I think it would be quite the moment.
I absolutely do too. Yeah, yeah. I mean, she did okay. She did okay without it, but I think that's great.
I'm going to get sexy, y'all. I love Jazzy P. I've had Jazzy P on the show. She is a beautiful person, by the way.
Yeah. No, I think she's very cool. I think that'll be a great show to see.
So, Aaron, you've went to Intermittent Live, then you decided, for nostalgia, to go to Tension. Give us your verdict. What did you make of the show?
I really loved it. Yeah, I had a really great time. It was pretty much all in all what I thought I would get. She gave us some Tension songs, but didn't drown us in them, which I know probably annoyed some of the more hardcore fans that I've talked to, and I think on your comments.
There was only one from Tension 2, and that's one of my favourite albums.
Right? Yeah. Look, I wasn't. I got my bit. I really love Hold On to Now, so I got that from the Tension era. Yeah, and we got Attention. I think Tension is a really great song. So there was a bit there. I didn't need too much of it, and we got a nice splattering of old stuff. She seemed to be sticking fairly, I guess, for me, because I haven't been for such a long time, and I was being nostalgic. It actually worked for me because it felt a little bit like the Madonna Celebration thing, where they stopped re-envisioning and reimagining, and it just felt very much to the original.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked that. It was so original that actually when I uploaded my video of Better W Know, it actually picked it up as the recording of Better W Know.
Really? Oh, wow.
It shows you how close it is.
That's phenomenal. Yeah.
So I was down with that because I was there. I wasn't really there for artistic interpretation of them. I just was like, just give me the memories. I usually despise that person. I'm someone who usually goes to those concerts and is like, finds that disrespectful to artists who are still making new music to become a legacy act. So I understand that's a bit cringy to some people, but for me, that it was all there. It really nodded to probably, if I'm really going back to when my glory moment was of my teens with Kylie, she really seemed to nod to Rhythm of Love.
Yes, which is probably why I loved it so much. I think Rhythm of Love is still my favourite album.
It was just a moment, wasn't it? And that was really when she crossed over from chirpy mainstream pop to where she became I think that's where she became a gay icon really as well, wasn't it? Like, what do I have to do, film clip? I know that frame by frame. You know what I mean?
Oh, isn't it amazing? And the behind the scenes footage as well. I wish they'd release a bit more behind the scenes, Danny in the background and all that. And for the 80% of listeners who have come on board either in 2001 or Padam era, the Rhythm of Love era, you missed out, because that was taking this beautiful young lady who became super horny and super attitude. Yeah. Go back and look at some of the interviews and just super sexy.
And just pulled up gay style or something. What can you do with her?
It was an amazing era to live through. I wouldn't say I was shocked, but I was definitely like she used to say at the time, my fans are growing up with me. And I was really pleased to see her giving a bit of attitude back to the interviewers in a very professional way, but she was flicking her hair and going, well, I don't know what to say. She just had the attitude at the time. And
she did. That's when I got really on board. I had Kylie records before then, but Rhythm of Love was really when I became a hardcore Kylie fanatic. And the show, we didn't get Step Back in Time, but we got the three big ones. And hearing What Do I Have to Do live was really great. That's my favorite old Kylie song. So I was
and apparently it wasn't in all the shows. So I almost fell down the stairs. I was sitting on an aisle, standing at an aisle, and almost fell down the stairs when she because it was the original version and everything. Yeah. So I was having a heart attack. Yeah, hey, Aaron, this might be the time for you to go and grab a drink if you feel like it. You can have a little bit of a lay back. I want you to hear Seasonal Adventures. That's his name on YouTube. This is what he had to say, a couple of minutes from Seasonal Adventures about his review of the Perth show, which was, for those of you in the know, show number 1.
And last but not least, the staging. Yes, that even before I started to read the plethora of comments, the staging did look a bit bare, a bit empty, like there's a lot of open space. It harked back to me sort of flashbacks of the Kiss Me Once tour. Even then it did have those bars. It looked like those climbing bars, like horizontal and vertical sort of bars in the staging, which again look basic but kind of functional as well. But those that have wanted to see what it looks like from media, press photos or fan photos and TikTok and so forth, some clips on YouTube from people's phones. The staging is really open and bare. Like there's just one big screen or screens along the back wall. The staging looked like it's only elevated by 3 or 4 steps and nothing else. There was at the beginning, she did add kind of like, how would you put it, like stepped, how would you put it? I don't know how to describe it. It looks like steps that you can move around, like Lego pieces. Just 3 or 4 of those just for like aesthetic effect, but nothing that she was walking on or the stances we're using. So other than that, and using lasers, of course, that's fine. Laser lighting, smoke machines, different, obviously, lighting. Yeah, it's kind of open and bare. Also, the number of dancers that she had, which is fine. There's only 25 dancers on stage. But, some of their costumes I think were a bit dour, meaning they were black or grey. And I mean, it doesn't have to always be rainbow colors or primary colors, but in a concert you want it to be very visual, and Kylie's known for that. So having the dancers kind of almost camouflaged, kind of detracted from the overall look, I thought, a little bit. Yeah, the set did look a little bit bare.
So, Aaron, that was Seasonal Adventures from YouTube. He went to the first show in Perth, and his review goes for 11 minutes. He generally talks quite positively, but there you go. There are 2 things that, if there is criticism or quibble about the show, it's staging and it's costume. They're 2 things that I hear time and time again. Did you have any quibbles with the show?
Look, I mean, in terms of the staging, it's very Madam X goes to the arena, let's face it. But
God, you have a way with words, my friend. I like you.
I had no issue with it. I mean, I thought it was cool. Again, I think for me, because I'm an old club head, it felt very rave. I loved the use of lasers. It felt really like, it was sort of like 1995 on steroids sort of vibe. I quite liked that. And there's that whole very dancey section. I think the middle bit gets quite clubby, and I that's my favourite bit, and it really worked with it.
So we're talking there, Edge of Saturday Night, which went off, Time Bomb, and there's another one, probably the Chemical Brothers Slow, I'd say.
Slow, like that. I think that is when it actually felt a little bit like, not flat, but it did a little bit, because that was just such a peak for me, and it really brought that vibe into it perfectly. So I had no problem with it. I had really good seats, though. I mean, I can kind of feel like, for me personally, I don't go to an arena and sit up the back. Like, I'm not going to go at all, because I just don't see the point. I did it with Lana Del Rey because I could only get seats at the back, and I love Lana. And it was just a cold experience. I swore I would never do it again. And I can understand why, if you are at the back, you're leaning on the spectacle a little bit more, and it doesn't have that. You know what I mean? And so I get that. But then also, I don't know, I mean, that kind of, what are you doing there? I mean, I'm not someone who goes and requires spectacle. And I actually think the thing that really...
Are you one of these ones who sit up the front and you turn around just for a moment in between songs and look at all the people and go, you trash?
Yeah, come on. It's just an extra...
I mean, you can't look down at the poor folk. Some people can't afford to be down there, Aaron, with all your riches.
And I also, I've said this, and I do think this is true as well. I would
have poured water all over your head, except it would have cost me about $6 to do so.
They weren't cheap. And I do understand that. I think there's an expectation. This is nothing to do with Kylie. As someone who works in marketing, this is not her. This is the team around her and the label and everybody else. If you're going to charge that much for tickets, I do think you are creating an expectation in the audience these days that you're going to get something, you're going to get bang for that buck. And
how much were your tickets?
Rave, do you know what I mean? And so I get why some people would be like, well, there's not much.
That's an interesting point. I've never thought of that. That if you're going to charge that much, you are setting a benchmark. How much did you pay for your premium seats?
I paid $509, I think it was.
$509, what each?
Yeah.
What for? Sorry, where were you sitting?
We were like row 2 at the end of the end of the catwalk.
Jesus! So what is that called? VIP seats? Because I noticed it was VIP.
I don't know if it was the Padam or it was the 10. Like, you know, it was had some corny name, but yeah.
Wow, you paid $500 for your.
Yeah,
wow.
we got a little travel pack. You got like a little diary.
Listen to this dude,
postcards.
people. Listen to Aaron looking around at the rest of us going, you
I
trash.
got a lanyard just so everybody knew I was a VIP. Yeah. Especially.
That was you. I noticed a few people walking around in the stadium with lanyards, and I thought, I wonder where you get those from. Yeah. They were the elite. Lucky I didn't know. They would have been sorry.
So I feel like I, at the front, got the intimacy of it, though. And I think what really left me, what I have to say about it is that, like, it really did focus on her as a performer. And to her credit, Kylie actually is a performer. She doesn't have the depth or artistry of some of the other sort of.
Oh no, Aaron, you're hurting my heart.
She's a great performer. Like she really held her own on that stage. So because I was close enough to be sort of in her presence, I guess, I really didn't feel the absence of the staging. But if you're at the back, you're not really getting that same sense of.
I'm laughing because you're so elitist, aren't you? Oh, my God. Hey, Aaron, do you want to hear a bit from the show you went to? You went to show 3 of 3 in Sydney, I think. That's correct, right? On the Monday night. Here's a little bit. Have another sip of your elitist wine.
Because I did one night. That was beautiful. I woke up with a crush. We never got to touch. One night was not enough.
I like that song. Yeah,
you do love that song,
yeah. I quite like it. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like that other one on the Tension too. There's that other sort of slightly Latin vibing sounding track, but that's what she's doing. But it works. Yeah,
and it fits right in with what you've described as what you like about Kylie's music. So tell me this: like now that I've realised I'm talking to someone who was in the King's Court or the Queen's Court down there. What was the atmosphere like amongst the people around you? Were people really engrossed in this show?
Oh yeah. It was there was definitely a vibe where we were. I was wondering that because, our show was the last to go on sale. I had actually bought tickets to the previous 2 shows and sold them because I was determined to get the seats I wanted. And so
sorry, how does that work? You did a bit of a potluck and realized that the tickets weren't
I had like the pre-sale access. So on the Saturday night one, I got the second row, but when I looked at it, because when you had the pre-access, you couldn't choose the seats. It just sort of gave you what it thought was the next best one available, which kind of sucked. And it didn't even have a map at that stage. So we kind of got – and then the map came out. I realised I was the second row, but we've all been to shows where that doesn't really work if there's a catwalk, right? So I was like, no, you don't want to be there. You want to be at the end of the catwalk. So I kept trying, and they put the Sunday show on, and I tried again. It was a bit better, but not still. And then I got the Monday show, and I got literally the second row at the end of the catwalk. The irony is she didn't spend much time on the catwalk, but she was still in front of me. I was a bit shocked by how little time she spent on the catwalk. And Madonna does half a show on the catwalk, but Kylie every now and then walked up and did a little shake and walked back. So, but still, at least she was always in front of me. So I was, it was. I was wondering, being the last show, sometimes at the last show, they're the people that are, they're not as diehard as they are in the first couple of shows, but people were still going crazy, and definitely the vibe in the crowd after it was unmistakably people were impressed.
So look, on behalf of all the listeners, and please don't take offence, but I am going to say this, how the other half live. Look, listen to all these first world problems, would you? Oh my God.
Yeah, the problem is we're the last ones to get out of the stadium to get on the train.
Oh, it's so hard.
We just stand there on the floor waiting for everybody else to leave.
I'm so sorry, but the great unwashed doesn't move fast enough for you, Aaron. Jeez. Wow. How does this show compare to a Madonna? Because I'm assuming you went to see Rebel Heart in the same arena.
I did. Yeah.
I don't know how I picked that about you, Aaron. I don't know how I picked that. But go on. How would you compare them and be brutal?
I actually felt in some ways there were some similarities there. Look, I mean, obviously Rebel Heart was just at a very different level of intricacy. And I think one of the things about Madonna versus Kylie, I don't have a problem with this. I don't say this slighting Kylie, but, Madonna has always been somebody who is pop, but it also is very much an artist. And you expect a certain level of depth from her. You expect her to be pushing things forward in a way. It doesn't always work, of course, but you expect that from her. I've never really expected that of Kylie. You know, Kylie is what Kylie is, and she has great teams around her, and she's a great performer. And like a lot of what she does tends to be lean. You can see where it's come from, let's say, and that's okay. It's it's all still enjoyable. And I felt that a little bit about the show. Like you could sort of like see what they were doing. I also saw the Doja Cat Scarlet Tour. I thought was a bit of influence on this as well. But yeah,
Doja Cat's what Scarlet Tour?
Scarlet Tour was a very
really
big screen. Yes, it was very, very much like this.
I love Doja Cat.
She's fabulous. So yeah, look, I don't think in the way you can compare them because Rebel Heart was what did have that spectacle element. Very much like it knew it was a big show in a big arena, and it was trying to use every space, and it was just a very intricate show. And also Madonna does shows where there's a lot of storytelling, or at least the concepts are quite strong. Kylie, this tension was really about the design aesthetic. It was a simple design aesthetic. So a lot of the set sections were really much about a look or a feel, but they weren't really very conceptual. They weren't really telling any stories.
There's a listener from New Zealand, and he told me, and I've never heard it before, and I've never heard it since. So maybe it's not true. No offense to my lovely New Zealand listeners, that apparently there was a certain direction, but then there was some sort of budget scandal behind the scenes, and at the last minute they had to pivot to these people who did Aphrodite, and they did the staging. So maybe that explains a bit.
I mean, it's also going over. I mean, she's also going. I think we've also got to understand as well. Like in Australia, Kylie is this huge figure, and you're used to these massive size acts having these massive shows. But she's going overseas. The same show has to go and be viable everywhere.
Has to travel.
Yeah, and and she's going to countries where she's not that huge, and they're not going to be able to charge the same ticket prices, and it has to be the same show they're putting on. So,
hey, Aaron, have you ever had to unbox like a Bravia TV, like a big screen Bravia TV at your home? It's hard, isn't it?
It is.
It's hard. Can you imagine packing those screens? I can't even think about it. Do you know? I was listening to you, and I'm just slowly digesting what you've said and how you've said it. When Kylie, around Rhythm of Love and Let's Get to It, when she started to transition from the sweet girl into the Vixie, the vamp, my sister, who hates Kylie, ironically still went and saw her at Gay Pride in Sydney, but that's another story. She used to say very spitefully to me, yeah, but anyone could look that good. Anyone could look that good with a great team around her. I mean, she's got all the best. She's got all the makeup artists, and people do her hair. You think you're getting, but she does nothing. And I just heard from you earlier, and it must have triggered a very nasty memory in me, as you can probably tell by the impersonation I just did, because you said she's got this great team around her. What do you mean by that? Are you saying that she doesn't really, and you're also implying she doesn't have artistry?
Yeah, I don't really think that she does, to be honest with you. I don't think she's creating that sort of a pop product. And I think there's always been something it always has been a slightly more superficial kind of product in some ways. It looks great, it sounds great, it's uber cool. But it is kind of pop. Like it's there's never been a great depth to it. I don't think she's going after that depth. Madonna thinks she's changing the world, right? And sometimes she did. But Kylie's not that kind of an artist. And the issue with those sorts of an artist, she can sing. She had a great voice. She's a great performer. But I do think that Kylie is, she has always been part of of teams. And sometimes the problem with those pop artists, pop products, is that as their career goes down post their peak, it really comes down to economic decisions about who the label is giving them. And so you're not getting access to the best teams anymore. I mean, Billie Eilish will have the best stylists. Like, they don't decide who their stylists are. The label give them to them. So they will get the very best. And as you start being post-peak, you're getting less and less access to the best sometimes. And so sometimes it's hard to keep going. And I think what she's had, and I did start to see that, I got to say, around the golden era. And I think at the moment what happened was she had this Padam moment. And what's great about it is the label's gone, oh, she actually can make some money, and she's having this viral moment, and it seems to be getting young people into her. Let's throw some money at her. And so it's great at this point of your career. You're lucky to have a bit where they throw money at her. Now, of course, if it doesn't work and Padam is just this thing, they won't throw the same amount of money at her in the future, which is partly why I went to the show. I'm like, well, she's having a moment. They're throwing money at her. Let's go. Because you don't always get that. whoever
I
designed
can't
this show
believe
was
this.
pretty good,
Aaron,
right?
all the people who write to me and say, Tim, you're too controversial. I hate you. Well, I'm going to give you Aaron's email address. You can I'm passing the baton on to you. You are extremely
Where's the
controversial.
lie? Where's the lie? That's how it works. Yeah.
Oh no, I've really enjoyed this. It's a completely different perspective. You're not the typical Kylie fan. You're definitely the truthful Kylie fan, which is awesome. But yeah, look, I'm only glad, Aaron, that you enjoyed the show.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Like I don't say any of those things in a nasty way. I've worked around the industry.
Well, let's just recap. Sorry to interrupt.
I work behind the curtain, right? So I get how it all works, and I think people forget that when they're looking at it, we still attribute way too much to that person. We forget how many people are involved. And
I would tend to agree with you.
Control over, truth be told, you know what I mean? And so,
no,
I don't say that disrespectfully. I just get that that's the reality of the industry.
Yeah, but I would counter. Like, typically, I would agree with you, except for the longevity. You can't say that she's just been accidentally a successful product with a team around her who know how to direct her and like a horse leading her to the water every step of the way. If that was 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe a little pop starlet, for example, I think you're underestimating the artistry that she offers. I think she knows exactly who she is.
I think you've got to be talented. Like sometimes in the industry, do you get people with zero talent who it really is they're just trying to take someone, maybe they're just really hot. And they
like
just
who?
These teams trying to make something out of nothing. Oh God, let me think. Who would be? I mean, I actually think that at the moment, like even Sabrina Carpenter, who probably is talented, but I think Sabrina Carpenter, when she tried to be her, but like, no, she's hot. Let's like throw all this money at her, and they've kind of created her into this really bubbly thing that I have no time. I feel is really just so inauthentic. I find her completely disengaging. Kylie has always managed to have enough of herself in it. I think that's why it works. Like at the heart of it, there is a Kylie that runs through it all cohesively as a performer, but it's still a highly stylized product. And she's getting the music, and she has not. I don't think she's an artist like Madonna, but even Madonna has. She's been very vocal. I mean, Madonna has been very vocal about what I've just been saying about how she has been struggling to get the label to fund the way she wants to write albums, for example. She's like, I'm an artist, I want to do this. And I just put out your bloody greatest hits tour, darling, right? That's what they'll fund. That's why she caved in the end, because they're like, we're not giving any more money for that stuff. We're giving you money for this. And so you are relying on what they're funding from you. And so, that is just the reality of it all. But she's still talented, and there is a Kylie through it all. But she's had a lot of great teams. She has something about her, especially in Australia and the UK, that everybody likes. There's a real sort of sweetness to her. Like she's not... I mean, it's interesting. Like I was glad she didn't talk too much. Like I think she's nice, but I don't think she's especially engaging, I have to say. Like I'm like after 10 seconds of her niceness, I'm like, okay, cool, just keep going. And but she's warm and she's bubbly and she's nice and she's got that. She has.
You think she's intelligent, Aaron?
Pardon?
Because look, if you don't mind me saying, you're clearly a highly intelligent guy, right? And I'm loving that about you. Do you think Kylie's intelligent?
I think she has. I think she's a nice person who has been around long enough to definitely have some smarts about her. She understands how the industry works. I don't think she has ever been that sort of master manipulator or like I don't think she's.
Stop choosing your words. Stop choosing your words.
She's
all right.
But
let me ask you. I'm going to ask you differently.
I'll put it to you this way. I don't think her intelligence is a driving factor in her career.
If you sat with Kylie one-on-one, having a nice
I'm not saying she's dumb.
a nice tension cocktail, could you have a conversation about politics with Kylie, do you think?
I don't know. I don't really feel that. I don't get that vibe from her, I have to say.
Yeah.
But, I'd probably have a nice conversation with her and I'd probably walk away and go, oh, she's really lovely.
You're so patronising. She was a nice girl.
Go on. No, it's like, no, I think she's nice. There are some artists that you could listen to you know, and they have a really interesting perspective and they really want to give it. I don't think that's the thing. I don't think Kylie's pretending to be. I don't think she's interested in giving us that. She's never given us really anything much in terms of that. Like, she doesn't have a perspective. There's not a remotely intellectual perspective that's ever been a part of Kylie. And Kylie has gone on for a long time. You know, even when she was being cool indie Kylie, there was no social or cultural context. She was just like, I don't like pop music anymore, man. Like, that was it. I'm not doing what I should be so lucky anymore, man. And then she did, and it's sort of like, there's never been anything much deeper to it. But that's the thing. I don't think you go to a Kylie concert, you buy a Kylie record for that. There's other artists that will give you that, and Kylie doesn't do that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Whew. Aaron, I love your perspective on life.
Thank you.
I love that. I'm gonna let that digest. Aaron's had a conversation with Kylie. He's walking away. She's still sitting there thinking, I liked Aaron, and Aaron's thinking, yeah, she was nice girl.
Great stylist. Yeah.
Got a good team around her.
Yeah. Love what they did with her hair today.
No, this has been delightful. Thank you for talking to me, Aaron. Honestly, this has been lovely. I might not share your details because I have a feeling the listenership of this show might be out to get you, so you can make that choice.
No. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
What do they say in Kath and Kim? Cruel but fair.
Yeah. Where's the lie? Yeah.
Mufasa, Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa.